In this graph, the economical indicators that I'm using are life expectancy, which are on the y-axis, and income per person, GDP capita, in the x-axis. The life expectancy is depending on GDP. I choose this graph as it has clear data to discuss. I can make more historical connections, as for example early 1800 Europe and Asian econ history situations, how they were working together or against, so this leads to the fact that I can have more detailed observations. Defining my indicators, life expectancy is the age until which a person is expected to live, and income per person is the income for the people in some economic unit. It is calculated by division of GDP and total population. Malaysia is a developing country, and it is one of the second-tier newly industrialized countries, whose identity and history are less well known than almost any other East or Southeast Asian countries. Life expectancy in the Malaysia showed a dramatic increase, which we can see in the y-axis in the years from 1916, which is here, to 2011, which is here, as it grew from an average from 59.42 years to 74.26 years respectively. In the y-axis, we can see that the growth of Malaysia started from 1960s. The lowest was 59.42 years, and then it's reached to 63.94 years in 1970s, which is here. Then 67.40 years in 1980s, so each 10 years, and finally reached 17.06 years in 1990, which is here. In 2000, the statistics shows that average life expectancy to be 72.40 years, which is here, yeah, and it reached 74.04 years, with male life expectancy at 71.28 years and female life expectancy at 76.99 years to 2013. The GDP per capita in Malaysia is equivalent to 55% of the world's average. GDP per capita in Malaysia averaged $3,250.85 US dollars from 1960s, which is here, until 2013, which we can see in the x-axis, reaching an all-time high of $6,990.25 US dollars in 2013 and record low of $815.29 US dollars in 1960, which is here. GDP per capita in Malaysia is reported by the World Bank. Kyrgyzstan is a developing country. From 1960s to 2012, the average value of life expectancy was 64.27 years, with a minimum of 56.30 years in 1960s and a maximum of 70 years in 2012, which we can see in the y-axis. After the October Revolution, the life expectancy for all age groups went up. A newborn child in 1926, which is here, we can see, is going down, had the life expectancy of 44.4 years, up from 32.3 years 30 years before. In 1958, which is here, the life expectancy of newborn went up to 60.8 years. This improvement was seen itself by some as immediately proof that the socialist system was superior to the capitalist system. The life expectancy of Soviet Union were fairly stable during most years, although in 1970s went slightly down, probably because of alcohol abuse, which we can see here. Kyrgyz Republic, with a per capita income, which we can see here in the x-axis, of US dollars 217 in 2000, is among the poorest quintile of nations in terms of per capita income and the second poorest country in the Central Asia. Compared to the last years of Soviet rule, around 1990s, per capita income at the turn of the 21st century was only 60%. Denmark is a developed country and more economically developed country. From the late 1960s to the present, the fertility and mortality rates have been declining. Average life expectancy at the birth has increased, which we can see in the y-axis, which is going up. But it is notable that life expectancy for men and for women in Denmark is still lower, and all of its neighbors, especially of women in 1990s, life expectancy for women was 78.3. The overall population growth rate has been constantly low at 0.31%. The Danish population is extremely homogeneous. As of 2000 to 97% are Danish ethnic Scandinavians, and the rest of are Inuit, Eskimo, Forest, and Germans. The proportion of the elderly people in the population has been increasing as well, with the result that in 2000 only 80% were under 14 and 15% were over 65. Malaysia starts at a significant lower life expectancy compared with Kyrgyzstan, but Malaysia developed faster than Kyrgyzstan. So in Malaysia in 2011, life expectancy were 74.26 years, and in Kyrgyzstan in 2012 it was 64.27. But for the Denmark, we can say that Denmark always had high life expectancy, but if we will compare with his neighbor countries, it has low life expectancy. His neighbor countries, it has low life expectancy. Malaysia starts at a significant lower life expectancy compared with Kyrgyzstan, but Malaysia developed faster than Kyrgyzstan. So in Malaysia in 2011, life expectancy were 74.26 years, and in Kyrgyzstan in 2012 it was 64.27. But for the Denmark, we can say that Denmark always had high life expectancy, but if we will compare with his neighbor countries, it has low life expectancy.